Alright, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give our praise and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Ukakadash. I want to give double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishop of Great Millstone who were well in teaching us the truth 100% securely. And I'd like to give a salutation to the men out there on the highway and the byway pushing the truth throughout the four corners of the earth. And I'd like to give a salutation to the Akim and Aqua who are listening and studying to show thyself approved. Alright, so this is another quick lesson. And, you know, and it lines up perfectly with 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. Okay, when they shall say peace and safety. Okay, and I believe that'll be the title of this lesson, when they shall say peace and safety. And you're going to see Trump pretty much saying that there will be no World War III. And, you know, if you are in the spirit of prophecy, in the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, we know that is a bald-faced lie. All right, we know that this devil is speaking sweetly with his lip. Okay, matter of fact, we can go ahead and read that in Psalm chapter 55 and 21. All right, and he got another one in Sirach, the 12th chapter, which we go ahead and get both of those. Okay, so these devils are speaking sweetly with his lip, but war is in his heart. Okay, and that's why. When you in the spirit of prophecy, you know you're not going to fall for this madness that Trump is getting ready to spew out in the video. Okay, so this is Psalm 55 and 21, and it said, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Okay, and so watch this video, and you're going to see that Trump's words is basically smoother than butter. Okay, and this is why us as the prophets of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, we constantly warn you that you can't trust these devils. You know, the scripture said, never trust thy enemy. Okay? And so, he's saying that it ain't going to be no World War III, but the scripture says otherwise. Alright? So, without further ado, let's play this clip. Lord willing, be edifying. We get into some more precepts. Alright? This is going to be a quick lesson.
As I said earlier, I intend to be a partner in securing a better future. We're going to be working, you're going to be working with the United States, and we're going to make sure that the Middle East is going to be a safe and secure place. It's a very important place in the world, means so much. There were so many people who said the Middle East, and this has been going for many, many decades. I've read it many times, that World War III will begin in the Middle East. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. There was a time that you would have thought it could have, but it's not going to happen. There won't be World War III, hopefully at all. But it's not going to start in the Middle East. We're not going to have a World War III if we're smart. There'll never be a World War III. Our work begins right here and right now. From ancient times, this region has been extraordinarily mixed with respect to people, culture, religions, all of the different elements of national characters, unlike maybe anywhere else on earth. And for 3,000 years, there's been conflict. For whatever reason, there's been tremendous conflict, always conflict. But today, for the first time anyone can remember, we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to put the old feuds and bitter hatreds behind us. And that's why so many people in this room, they didn't get along. Some did, some didn't, but they're getting along now. This has brought the people together. This is the first time the Middle East crisis has brought people together as opposed to driving them apart. And to declare that our future will not be ruled by the fights of the generations past, which is foolish. So together let us continue in the spirit of cooperation and goodwill that has finally brought us to this incredible, historic breakthrough. If we do, together, we will reach the Middle East's incredible destiny, a safe and prosperous and beautiful crossroads of culture and commerce, faith in humanity, and geographic center. This will be the geographic center of the world. So I just want to thank everybody for being here, or thank you all for what you've done and for this quick notice. It all came together just at one little period. It just came together. It's, the greatest deals happen that way. If you do anything about deals, it's all I've done all my life is deals. The greatest deals just sort of happen. And that's what happened right here. And maybe this is going to be the greatest deal of them all, not just nation building, not just having to do with this or the political whims. This will be maybe the greatest deal of them all, period. Thank you for watching.
All right, and so you heard it. All right, the devil is speaking sweetly with his lip. Okay, and so this is another quick precept that lines up perfectly with Psalm 55 and 21. It says, "An enemy speaks sweetly with his lip, but in his heart he imagines how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood." Okay, and so there is also a report, like my Quadar Shahan just did a lesson on this very same topic, and he actually played a video from the brother Ayah Shamat at GMS Mississippi, who actually came across another clip where another CIA agent was pretty much saying that these countries are still gearing up for war. Okay, and that's why that precept 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and 3 lines up perfectly, because it says, "When they shall say peace and safety," okay, which we'll pretty much read that towards the end of this lesson. But I also wanted to bring out this the vision that Daniel had. Okay, just get straight to the point. And that's another example. I was looking at an article about that too. You know, Trump celebrate peace in the Middle East after signing Gaza deal. What I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip as well too. Okay, but first let's get this vision of Daniel. Okay, because when you read Daniel the 8th chapter and about basically verse 1 through 14, it goes into the vision of the ram with 2 horns, and then it had a he-goat with 1 horn that struck the ram with 2 horns. Okay, and then the ram with 2 horns had no power. All right, that's basically summarizing what the vision was seeing. And then when you jump down to verse 15, Daniel 8 and 15, all right, and it says, and it came to pass, and when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the bank of Eula, which called and said, "Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision." So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, "Understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision." You see, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. So what you just saw in that clip was pretty much representing this very vision right here in Daniel, you know. And in verse 18 it says, so now as he was speaking with me, I was in deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. And he said, "Behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia. Okay, and the rough goat, the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, for a kingdom shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power." You see, 4 kingdoms shall stand up of the nation, but not in his power. And one of those kingdoms is talking about America, aka Babylon the Great. So even though Trump seems like he's a dictatorship, but it really is not his power that he's flaunting. Okay, in verse 23, and it says, "In the latter time of that kingdom, when the transgressor are come to the fore, a king of fierce countenance," that Donald Trump, Nero, "and understanding dark sentence shall stand up, and his powers shall be mighty, but not by his own powers." Okay, and so meaning that he's a puppet. He got people behind him, okay, that giving him the power. "And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy," okay, what did they just got through signing? A peace agreement. All right. "Also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart." Was he not speaking proudly? There's not going to be any World War III, not on my watch, right? All right, "He shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hands." Okay, and in verse 26, and it said, "The vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Wherefore shut up thou the vision, for it shall be for many it shall be for many days. Okay, and this is pretty much that vision that's going on today as we speak. All right, Daniel started vision way back, and now we're seeing it today with Donald Trump signing that peace deal, because he said in verse 25, all right, going into his policy with that peace deal, okay? Because he says, and through his policy, he also shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. Okay, so Trump talking like he's the reason why he brought that peace together. Okay, but it's not gonna work, man. Okay, and so in another one, when you go into Daniel, just chapter 9th chapter, and the point being the 27th verse, which is basically going into the kingdom of the Chaldeans, which is also the another name for Edomites. Okay. Daniel chapter 9 and 27. He said, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. Okay, and he says, in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice, the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abomination he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that the determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Okay, and so that's another example when he said he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. Okay, the covenant means goes into deals. As a matter of fact, we go read the very same verse in the NLT 9 and Daniel 9 and 27 in NLT, and it said the ruler will make a treaty with the people for a period of 1 set of 7, but after half this time he will put an end to the sacrifice and offering, and as a climax to all his terrible deeds, he will set up a sacrilegious object that caused desecration unto the fate decreed for this defiler is finally poured out on him. You see, and so that peace deal is only going to be for a moment, man. It's not going to last long, like Trump Nero was trying to say. Okay, and so when let's address this part when he said there shall be peace and safety. I mean, there's not going to be any World War III. Okay, which that's a bald-faced lie. And the scriptures in Isaiah 55 and 11, where he said, my word will not come back void, Yahweh Shah does not make empty promises. Okay, and so if he said it's going to happen, it's going to happen, which we already seen in through history. You can look up what year World War I happened and what year World War II happened. Okay, and then through the scripture it said that these things were going to come to pass. So this is Revelation chapter 9 and verse 12, and it says, one woe is past, and behold, there comes 2 woes more hereafter. You see that? One woe is past. So this is the prophecy. Go to World War I is past, and it said, behold, there come. Alright, so like this is we just left off with Revelation chapter 9 and verse 12, and then we go to Revelation 11 and 14. Alright, and it said the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, and so when you read the scriptures and you understand prophecy, what Donald Trump just said is pretty much a bald-faced lie. Alright, that thing is going to happen. Alright, as the scripture said in Habakkuk, though it tarry, it will surely come. Okay, and so in this article you can see what he basically celebrated.
This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving, hoping, and praying for. They have done things over the last month that I think were really unthinkable. Nobody thought this could happen. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered. As you know, the hostages have been returned, and further work goes on having to do with the, sadly to say, bodies. Together we've achieved what
everybody said was impossible. At long last, we have peace in the Middle East, and it's a very simple expression, peace in the Middle East, and we've heard it for many years, but nobody thought it could ever get there, and now we're there.
You see, and that peace is not going to last long. So, you know, it's just a quick lesson to the spirit. I just wanted to, put my 2 cents in. I believe that was the vision of Daniel, what we just saw, when he said, trying to change he got all of these heathen nations to gather in the valley of Jehoshaphat. You read Joel, the 3rd chapter, okay, and they all quote unquote signed a peace treaty. But Yahweh Shah says otherwise, man. All right, so when you read, we ended off with 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. Well, the point will be in verse 3, but this is for those who in the know. All right. We started verse 1, and it said, "But of the time and the season, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you." Right, so we know what's going to happen because we pay attention to the prophecy. All right, "For yourself know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night." All right, it's going to come when we least expect it. Okay, and basically what Trump just said is a telltale sign of where we're at in the prophecy. Measure down the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the times past, then shalt thou understand that is the highest shall begin to visit the world which he made. Okay, so this is the Lord coming as a thief in the night. He's getting ready to come down, on Idumea. All right. So in verse 3, and it said, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Okay, and so there ain't no escaping, there ain't no way around it. World War III will happen, and that does says the scripture. Okay. So when they shall say peace and safety, okay, and that's pretty much Donald Trump trying to push, but there will be a World War III. All right, so that's pretty much it. Lord willing, this is edifying. With that, let me give all praise and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who were well in teaching us the truth, 100% securely. Shalom, shalom, Kwame Yasharala, shalom.